Filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy can be done by both individuals and what are called non-natural entities like LLCs or closely held corporations. By far the most common are individuals. People can file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Now, you can file joint with another person, but only if you're legally married to that person on the date of filing. So couples that are in the middle of a divorce, as long as a divorce decree hasn't been granted, can still file together. And I've seen cases where judges have stopped a divorce proceeding, so the couple is expecting to get a divorce decree in a hearing. I've seen judges actually stop the hearing and say, I'm not going to enter that divorce decree until you go file bankruptcy because you have overwhelming debt and you can file together right now. Come back and see me after you've gotten your bankruptcy filed, then I'll grant the divorce decree, says the judge. Now, married people don't have to file together, so if one spouse decides they want to file and the other doesn't have debt or doesn't want to go along with that, they're not required to file just because their spouse does. Spouses can also file separate cases. One spouse can file claiming the kids and be, let's say there's 2 children, so they can be a family of 3 filing for bankruptcy. And then the other spouse can file a separate case and can file as a family of 3, whereas if they filed together, they would be one family of 4 as opposed to 2 families of 3, which can have strategic advantages. As I mentioned before, LLCs or corporations, what we call non-natural entities, can file, but it's pretty unusual. Non-natural entities don't get a discharge in bankruptcy, which is the wiping out of debt. The only real reason to file Chapter 7 for an LLC or a closely held corporation is if that company has property that's not liened up by a secured creditor, and that property needs to get distributed among the creditors. If there's no property to be distributed, the court can actually sanction the attorney for filing a bankruptcy for a non-natural entity like a chapter, like an LLC or a small corporation. It's not common that the court will sanction them, but the question does get asked: why did you file a bankruptcy if there were no assets to distribute? Sometimes a company can start out in Chapter 11 and get converted to Chapter 7, but again, it's normally only when there's assets to be distributed among the creditors.